Good afternoon, everyone. So, this is our IELTS class for today. This class is provided by CECA, and this is free of the cost class. So, same goes with the class for the PTE, which we just held in the morning 10 to 12, and same implemented to the NATI CCL classes for Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu, and Nepalese. And we do offer free migration counseling if you are after Canada migration, that also free. And today there is a seminar going on and webinars. You can assess that. You can use that, avail that service if you want to have any piece of advice. But for that, you have to go to the Facebook page of SICA and see what are the updates there regarding that Canadian migration seminar webinar, right? And if anybody is after conversion of the visa from visitor to student, you can lead that person to the CECA, because we do offer this service as well. And also the 3-year lodgement is free with us. So if you are after the 3-year lodgement, or anybody you know, and that service is provided free with us, right? And besides that, we do offer the lowest price in overseas health cover. So if anybody is like after the health cover, you can ask for the code, and you can call in this number given on the screen for any of the services I'm saying here. And as you can say, all the services I'm saying, you do not have to pay anything for that. It just you have to make a call, or maybe you need to leave a text message, right? And that's it. And today class, it's going to be about, we're going to discuss about the writing first, and after that we'll be moving to the next item type for today, or next module for today possibly, right? And moving to the writing, so we've had talk about the writing task 2 in the previous session, right? So I'll be just moving down to writing task 1, which was left on that day. So task 1 is different for academic and general student. For academic, you have to do a diagram description, like making a university report for a fellow student who's absent at the class. This is sort of the instruction they give you. And the time is same and word limit is same for both the task 1, letter or diagram description, graph description. So time is 20 minutes and the word limit you will be having is 150. So time can't be move up and down. It's only entire one collective hour provided to for both the tasks. So it's your responsibility how you are managing time and giving 20 minutes to the task 1. The word limit 150. So extend, if you want to do extension in these in this part, then certainly you can extend up to 160 only. That's the max you can do. It's recommended that you are not writing more than that, because the more words you will be writing, so it will be judged as inefficiency of describing the picture in the given word, because that's the format they are asking you to write in. And ultimately that's the important part to take care of, right? Because if you're not taking care of the format of the words, so ultimately you won't be losing mark on the task achievement parameter, which accounts for the task format as well. So this is the word limit you need to write in. And the layout plan as discussed in the last class, if you know that, it's okay. If you do not know, you can text me and ask me, and toward the end of the class I'll be just explaining that as well. Just a sec. Okay, so the task 1 of academic is divided into the 4 paragraphs. The most important paragraph of the task 1 is overview paragraph, right? It will be after the introduction, you will be writing the overview paragraph. So this is the mark description as per if I just want to explain the value of the overview, the right overview, and I just got this band descriptor, like how you achieve score in the task 1. So you see here the band 5, which says there is no clear overview, right? So that means recount detail mechanically the person is able to, but with no clear overview, so that student accounts with the band 5, right? Then band 6 is the student who presents an overview with information appropriately selected, right? So this is the difference if you are writing an overview perfectly and if you are missing on that, right? And then band 7, where actually the requirement of many is presents a clear overview of main trends, differences, or stages, right? So this is actually what we have to include in the overview paragraph, which is the paragraph number 2, right? And it must be there. And task 1 cannot be taken as a completed task if you are missing on this paragraph, right? So it's a summary of the most important points in a graph, chart, process, or map, right? It's normally 2 to 3 sentences long and should be the second paragraph you write in the essay. It also influences what you write in rest of your essay. Essay means I'm talking about the task 1. So what the rest of the task 1 description will be about, that also decided with the overview. Because if you're just talking about the main free features, differences, stages, or any trends, main trends you are looking at in the diagram, and you're writing that in the overview paragraph, so of course in the next 2 paragraph actually you explaining those main trends, actually you explaining those main differences, those main stages, right? So this is how it actually is. It's a sort of summary, you can say it's a summary of what you are gonna discuss further. So this is like how you are writing it. And I am putting a lot of emphasis on that because this is quite important. If it's an impressive one, definitely you will be able to get good marks, right? Because examiners, they look for the perfect overviews. And if that is missing, ultimately that affect your score in the writing. So it's the most important. And an overview is a summary of the main feature shown in the diagram. So what it is, what it describes, so it is actually describing for bar and line graph. It is saying what is increasing. You have to ask this question to take out the main trends. What is increasing, what is decreasing, and what is, just a sec, let me add the students. Okay. What is decreasing and what is fluctuating, if any information is in a fluctuating tone. And for processes, you need to ask how many stages are there and what are the main changes and outcomes happening at each stage, right? So in the overview, you do not have to write any numbers. Like normally the bar graph, the pie chart, or the line chart, they have percentages or number mentioned in them. So when you are writing overview, that should be clearly in words only. There should not be values given, right? So values we are writing in the upcoming paragraphs, paragraph number 3 and 4. There we are just describing at a length of any main trend, like how it is increased and by what values it is more than the least one. So the numbers and percentages or any unit of measurement will be in the third and fourth. So no numbers to be written in the overview paragraph, right? And these are the type of graph you will be having. So just a sec. So there will be dynamic and static charts. So dynamic charts when they are showing the data over time, and the static charts are that show data at just one point in time, right? So there is a difference. Like dynamic charts, they have a lot of information in that, and the static chart, they must be talking about only 1 year but different months in that. They must be talking about one product sale or one product manufacturing, and they're just talking different trends in that, right? So this is the difference between dynamic and static, right? So if you got a dynamic chart, you have to look for the answer to these questions. What does the data do from the start to finish? Do they generally go up, down, or fluctuate? Any significant difference from the general trend? Any overall increase, overall it's decreasing or increasing, or any peaks or low? And if it's a static one, so then you are looking for answer to these question. And why I'm telling you these question, suppose you are having a graph in front of you and you're looking at the graph. So what information actually you taking out for the overview? So this question is the answer to that. So when you're looking at and asking, so the journal trend is the information, or whatever figures are mentioned, they are increasing, decreasing, or fluctuating. So ultimately you were looking at a journal trend of that. So maybe it's decreasing, so you get your answer. So that become your one sentence for the overview. So this is how this will help you to design on and actually to read the diagram efficiently. So this is the question which relate with the static graphs. Highest and lowest values, right? What are the most noticeable differences? Any similarities? Any significant exceptions, right? So these are the one you will be taking, asking if you are after the static graphs, right? Then Moving on to next slide, the format. So as I told you, there will be 4 paragraphs. First paragraph, you will be paraphrasing the question, like they are given you the graph describes about the major trends or major hours in the electricity used in the summer and in the winter in the year 1980 to 2000 for the Japan or for the Australia, right? So this is like that is what they are giving title to the diagram, right? So first paragraph is paraphrasing that particular sentence, right? We are not using any word similar. Whatever words we can change, we know synonym of, or maybe we can just know another way to write it with some other words, right? So we should always follow that. We should always opt that, because any word you're writing same here from the question instruction, so that word won't be counted towards your word count, and also that will mark as a that will lower down your score for the lexical resources as well. So second paragraph overview, and the third and the fourth is like details, where we are explaining those trends with length, with description, with their figures given, right? So there is no conclusion in the task one. So some people, some student, they do write introduction, then description, and then they write conclusion, the pattern we follow in the task two. So the conclusions are meant only for the task two, when we are actually giving a summary of what our opinions or what we think of, right? So definitely here doesn't need any opinion here. They're not asking what you think, what will be the future trend, or what will the recommendation you are giving for that. Nothing. It's just that whatever you can look at the diagram in, that what you are describing here, right? So just don't write any conclusion for it, because you're writing a conclusion, definitely it won't help you to get good marks. This is the pattern you need to follow to grab more and marks here. So this is how the task one will look like. Like the first, you see there is only one sentence, because as we are only paraphrasing the one sentence, so this will act as a whole one paragraph introduction. This is the overview, right? So it can always start with this connector overall, comma, fossil fuels have been the dominant type and will continue this trend in the future, right? Nuclear renewable energy sources have represented a small but significant proportion of total energy use. And despite small projected gains, it is projected that they will continue doing so. So this is the major trends the student has got from the diagram he might be looking at, right? And now you see the same trends, the same things they have picked up as the main trends are what they have described in the next 2 paragraphs with the figures, with the year mentioned, right? Like look here, petrol and oil, so they both are the fossil fuels, right? So command the biggest share, so they said they've been the dominant type, bigger share. There they given the figures for that, 35 quadrillion units in 1980, and continued trend in future, they said that rising to approximately 40 in 2008, and this trend is set to continue with a projected value of nearly 50 in 2030. You see, this covered the first sentence. This is a description of that, right? So you need to understand this thing to make the perfect description and overview as well. So 1980, natural gas and coal came in second and third with around this and this percentage respectively, quadrillions respectively. However, coal took natural gas in 1990. You see, whatever we're talking here, these are fossil fuels, right? So, and despite some fluctuation, is said to be the second most used fuel in 30 with just over 30 quadrillion. It is predicted that the natural gas will level off and remain relatively constant at about 25 quadrillion. So they just picked the overall from the whole piece of information shared in the graph, that the fossil fuels will be the dominant type, and they will be continuing this in the same trend into the future as well. And then they describe the whole thing in the third paragraph with the percentages, sorry, the units and the years, and they just classified each of the fossil fuel and what is the trend for that one, right? And then come the nuclear and renewable energy. So they have mentioned the nuclear and renewable energy sources as well. So they said they represented a small but significant proportion of total energy use, right? So despite some small projected gains, it is projected that they will continue doing so. So here we see how they are explaining nuclear and renewable energies, all represented around 4 quadrillion in 1980 and fluctuated up until 2008. So small but significant proportion. So it is speculated that nuclear energy will reach to 10 quadrillion by 2030, and solar wind up to 5, hydropower dropping and then remaining constant at approximately 2 quadrillion. So you see now they just said nuclear and renewable, how they have the small gain which is 4 quadrillion, and it will be it is a significant proportion, and despite small projected gains that they say 10 quadrillion, 4 to 10 only, it's small projected gain, and they will be continuing in doing so. So they are saying like 5 quadrillion in wind, hydropower will drop and then remaining constant at approximately 2 quadrillion. So this is how we have to explain the main trends we have picked up in the overview in the next paragraphs, and this one will get you 3 out of 3 marks for the task 1 if you continuing with the same pattern. And you see this is quite logical, sequential, everything is clearly understandable here. So even if I'm not looking the diagram right now, I can still imagine the diagram by just looking at the description of it. So if your task 1 is like, I don't have a diagram in front of me, but still by reading it I can understand what sort of diagram it will be, that mean that serve the purpose. So now it's the perfect task which will be getting you more and more marks. So always change the intro sentence. There are different ways to change that. The given, they said bar graph, so you can just pick up, they said graph, you can just pick up as per the type of graph it is: flow chart, pie chart, information process, map, illustration, table, diagram. So whatever type of graph or picture you can see, according to that you can pick one. And initially you can also write the presented, the provided, supplied, the given, right? Rather than writing the given one only, you can just continue with the like that. And then the show word or describe word which is normally there in that. So these are all other synonyms to that. So always pick according to the type of diagram. So there are few which will gel up with any sort of diagram, but then there are few which will only goes with some particular types, like sketches out can only go with the diagram, right? And expresses also, if some sort of diagram is there and it is expressing the projected gain or something like that, so you can use this. But demonstrate and summarizes, illustrate and show, represent, indicates, outlines, so these are the like where you can fix them with any of the introduction, any of the diagram. So they'll help you to variate the things for you in the introduction. So if it's a line, pie or bar graph, so these are the 10 quick questions you will be asking yourself, and that will present you with whole soul information, the major trends, the key informations, the any ups and lows, any fluctuations, any significant differences. So this will give you an blueprint, like how you are designing the task now, right? So first of all, what type of chart and what does the title say about the chart, right? So that will tell you what it is about, what kind of information it is sharing, and what contain in the both axes, that mean percentage, years, or what have they mentioned on the both axes. What are the unit of measurement? It's into age, percentage, amount, millimeter, then kgs, then liters, in which unit they have given the information in. What groups are compared? So just look for any grouping you can see in the task. Like suppose, uh, you feel like, okay, these are two pieces of the bars which are quite similar, or there are three pieces of the bar which are really almost same, right? So that means those are the groups which can be taken, those are the information which can be taken as one group. And then I'll be looking at some more groups or some more in pieces of information which are alike, and maybe they are increased right? They are in increasing number. So those two, I just made them into one group. Now I got two groups here, one of the average decreased percentage and one of the increased percentage. So now I can compare them better in a sentence, right? So always group the information, right? Because if you got suppose 10 bars, now it's not easy to explain each the bars individually within 150 word. So what I can do, I can group the information, and then the groups I made out of 10, maybe I made three groups, right? Now it's more easy to compare the group wise information, right? And what is the time period? Normally the time period is past, right? But sometimes they always give what is the present situation, and sometimes they talk about past and future. So if you see the time is changing, so do the sentence need to be. Like if something is projected till 2030, which is yet to come, so you are writing that in your in description. So your sentence need to be in the future form. Will be, shall be. Obviously, will be. Shall is not to be used here. What is the most obvious thing the data shows? So maybe the major trends they are showing it is decreasing, or major trend it is showing it is increasing. So that is the obvious thing we're looking for, and most important and significant information. So maybe that is sound, that may sound like the 1 year. So everything was increasing, then that year come, and suddenly there was a gradual decrease was observed. So that particular year will be a important significant piece of information, because after that the things or the game has changed to the decrement. Any comparison? So yes, when we had made groups, then we can make comparison. And if information is quite less, then it's very easy to look for any comparisons, like anything when we have suppose only 4 bars, or we have just two line graphs, or we just got a very simple pie, right? So it's very easy to compare the things. So just look for those comparison, the highest, the second highest, the least one, right? So these are the one things that we are looking at. And if it's a static or dynamic chart, so this one I shared earlier as well. So if it's a dynamic and static, you can further ask those certain question, and you will be seeing, like now this by listening it, it seems lengthy, but when you implementing it, it will be work of 1 or 2 minutes, and you will be seeing as you will be writing down that piece of information, right? Or maybe you are drawing on that image given, that piece of information, and taking notes alongside. So you will see you will get lot of main trend, major major important parts, comparisons, groups, and major and minor things, right? So this will tell you all of the things which actually need to be there in your description, which are the key informations, right? So this will channelize what you're gonna write, and leaving whatever is unnecessary, or you can just mingle it up with some more major information, right? So this will help you to write in exactly 150 words. So that's why the things I'm telling you, that's like we said, organizing and planning the answer. So it's very important. So definitely when you're doing all those stuff we discussed for the line graph, pie chart, and bar graph, you actually planning your answer. So how I'm just writing the overview, and after that how I'm explaining those major trends, right? Major minor trends, right? Then ultimately you need for this you might need 3 to 4 minutes, right? So out of 20, take out those 3 4 minutes first for the planning. And instructions, always read that carefully. Sorry, right? So otherwise you know that this is 20 word 150 task. But if you are just completely like giving it after a long time, just go after the instruction, because it's always good to refresh, but you know it's fine, right? So when you are writing the task one, and make it check by me, maybe just one task I can do that checking for you. So just see what are the common mistakes you are getting there, right? So if you are not picking the major trends, the key information, if the problem is with your spelling, if the problem is with your tenses, is the problem is with your sentence formation, right? So what sort of mistakes you are actually doing, or are you not able to pick up the trends which we can quote as a major trends, right? So first you have to see for that mistakes, look for those mistakes, and then work on that, right? Because you see the essay, it is 6 band out of 9, But the problem is with the essay, like you write the perfect one, right? I don't know like how good you are in writing. Maybe you're a student of a caliber 9 as well. I don't know, I'm just generally talking. Like suppose you are doing the, like giving the best shot in the essay, but still it won't be in any case out of 6 is it will not be 6, right? That's a very rare case, I would say, right? But here in the task one, it's a 3 band task, and you're giving your best shot here, taking care of all the things I'm mentioning here, then there is a still potential that you can get all those 3 marks, right? So that means this one can boost your writing score, right? So there you get 4, here you get 3. So you see the total score comes out to be 7. So here you get 2.5, there you get 4.5, right? So then the total score come out to be 7 again. So this is how you have to work on the task, both the tasks, and both the tasks are equally important. So do paraphrase the question, and this is an example to do that. So the graph give below, normally this is how the statements are given above the diagram, right? And how you will be paraphrasing. The diagram show the data of moviegoers, and it says the graph below show information about cinema attendance. Moviegoer cinema attendance graph diagram below would always eliminate that in the description because you're not drawing a diagram below. Gives information, shows data, right? In the UK, in the United Kingdom, from 1998 until now, it says between. Now, this is very commonly you will be seeing between 1998 to 2000. So whenever this is given, you can simply change it from 1998 to 2000, like that. In this case, it's present. So we just quoted it until now. So with projection and forecast, this is also one word you'll be needing a lot. Projections, if it's given, you write forecast. If forecast is given, you write projections, right? So 218, so you will be writing up to 2018. So both the way it is right. Now, next is do not copy word. This is I'm asking for the paragraph introduction you did, right? Do not copy word or any information from the diagram, like the word specially, like the word, it says the diagram shows the information. So don't start like the same. The diagram show the, change it. The table depicts the information or the table depicts the data, right? So change it very easily. You can change it. Not much hi-fi words are needed to change that. And if you are not changing, so I told you you will be losing mark for copying the same word from the question booklet. So there should be a sequence of events when you are describing the things in the task one, and what sequence you can follow. Maybe you're picking up to from the minimum value, right? And then moving to the and obviously then moving to the ascending order: minimal, slight, gradual, moderate, considerable, significant, substantial, enormous, and dramatic, right? Now maybe it could be the case that minimal and after that it's considerable, right? And after that it's substantial and then enormous and dramatic, right? So this is the all of the stages that you can have, may have or may not have all the stages, but this is how, according to maybe you got 4 stages. So just pick up what sort of change you are looking at and give a sequence to those changes happening in the diagram, right? And you can do it either way as well. Maybe you're starting from the dramatic moving towards the minimal, maybe you're starting from the minimal moving towards the dramatic, right? And definitely when you're talking about a moderate change, so maybe that change is fast, maybe that change is slow. So again we have to select different degrees, right? And how you can do that, like here we saying if some change is moderate and it is in a decreasing position. So one time maybe I'm using decrease, but then again I am quoting a piece of information which is again decreasing, so I'm writing declining, dropping, right? Falling. So these are the words which you can use for which you can use if you are just quoting going down some information, some percentages going down again and again 3 4 times. So always change the verb in that. And if it's going to be at the noun place, right, we starting a sentence as a decrease can be seen in the selling of the car in the year 1988. So this time it is acting as a noun, right? So if it's a noun, then you are using this form of the words, right? But if you choose using them a verb, and how the sentence sound if you using them a verb, the selling of the car is dropped by 20% in 1998. So this time it acts as a verb. So how you starting your sentence, that depends. So there are two forms you can use the you can use these words, right? And here you can see, okay, and it is for increase as well. Now there are two words I mentioned specially, plunge and plummet. So these two words specially are for any big change. Now the percentage was 80, the next year it is 60, or next year it is 40. So this is a considerable change, right? So for that you can write for that you can write it dramatically plummeted, right? The percentage dramatically plummeted from 80 to 40 in the year 2000 as far as the sales of the electronic gadgets are concerned, right? So were concerned, sorry, this is a past information. So this is how these will be used, because some student, they know the word, they fix it anywhere when there is a decrement, right? So just keep in mind these two you using if there is a big change. Same implements here, increase, rise, grow. The two forms are given. Then if something is doubling, that means doubled, trebled, right? Or maybe you can write twofold increase, threefold increase, right? Climbed. And if you were using this word rocket or shoot up, the two words, those are the words when the increase is quite sharp, right? So rocketed or shooted up. Those two words you will be using for the big changes. And here, if you're using them on the noun places, so it will change like this: an increase, a rise, growth, grow become growth, doubling in, and then the noun, right? Trebling in the number of article published, right? A climb, right? So this is how you will be using it in a noun position. If there is a no change, so these are the actually the changes you will be looking at majorly in the graphs given. So if there is no change, then level off, right? I'm giving in the present form, but as you will be writing in the past form, so you have to change the decrease to decreased, right? Dropped, declined, plunged, plummeted, increased, doubled, rocketed, and then stabilized, leveled off, right? Because normally the data is in past, right? But again, you have to look at the diagram to confirm if the data is past, present, or future, because according to that you are framing your sentences. So these are the words for no change. These are the words for something is constantly changing, right? Now it is like 20%, now it is 25, now it is 28, again it is 30, then it is 28 again, then it is 22 again it went to 35, then it becomes 20. So this we call fluctuation, constant change, constantly changing, no big small change, just constantly changing. So these are the words for that on both position, verb and noun. And when we are just talking about something reach to some position, reaching to a position, right? Maybe reaching a high, and that normally become the, when we are just quoting the end piece of information in the graph, right? So maybe at the end it reached a peak of, that mean a higher high of, right? A peak of 80% in the year 2020, right? Reach a low of, that mean to 10% in the 2020. So this is like when you are just finishing off the graph information, so you can see what position it reached to, and according to that you can use these two: stood at, also at the same place, and then started at, that means when you're starting off the information, and ending at when you're finishing off the information, right? So keep in mind you have to change every time you want to describe a change of same value, different value, you have to also always change the adjective as well. And same goes to the verb and the way you are describing the change as well. So adjective is like this one: minimal, slide, gradual, right? As per the change you are picking a suitable word for adjective, and then according to that you choosing verb. And for verbs also you have to choose every time a different form of the verb, that means having the same meaning but different word. because vocabulary is one thing which you showing a lot of variation in task 1. Actually that will count and make you carry towards the more marks in the writing, because vocabulary play a vital role in the task 1 academic, right? So there is one other thing, we call it signposting language or discourse markers, right? So these are the words or phrases that tell the examiner what you are writing about, right? And they are called, sometimes we call them discourse markers, sometimes we call them signposting language. So what actually they are, so this is the one here, starting here example, the graph shows. So that means I'm telling the examiner that I'm writing about the graph, like what it is describing. So this is kind of having a signpost, right? So this way leads to barn, this way leads to park. So this is kind of signposting. The graph shows. That means I'm telling the examiner in this sentence I'm explaining that, right? And then the come the most significant change. So this is again sign postage kind of, that now I'm talking about the most significant change, right? Because you not verbally or in any informal way you're telling the examiner what you are clubbing the information here. So definitely you are using the formal sentence structure to tell that, right? So these act and actually necessary to include in your writing task 1 academic, right? So here more significant change, another noticeable change or trend, and overall, right? So overall you're using in the second paragraph only. So these are the words you will be using, and keep in mind that you must not increase such signposting language more than just say 5 in 150 words, right? So maybe I'm using the graph shows 1, then I'm using overall 2, then I'm using the most noticeable trend 3, then I'm saying the another significant changes 4, right? And then maybe in the last paragraph, fourth, I'm using one more, so that means 5. So this is how you are using them. Do not overuse them, because they, if you overusing them, so it will be taken as that you are not aware of the usage of these signposting language words phrases. It's just that you know them and you're just putting them everywhere around, right? But keeping them to 5 and 150 words will tell the examiner this person aware of the usage of the discourse marker, right? So you can search in the Google as well to know what sort of signposting language or discourse marker you can use in the task 1. And obviously always remember that you should be using them appropriately. That means if you are actually talking about some significant trend or the most significant trend change, only then you are writing it. If, not for the sake of writing it, right? If you actually talking about the another noticeable trend or change, then you are using this phrase. If you just not mentioning some information like that, so never use it. So it depends on the situation or on the task description, how you are carrying it forward, right? So this is how you will be using them. So tense, I told you, very easy to understand. As per the time, the events mentioned in, you picking up the data or you picking up the tenses. And remember that it is quite important that you follow the right sentence structure. So if information just starting in the 1990 and ending in the 1990, so the whole of the task needs to be in past form. And the best and the easiest way to write in the past form is using the past indefinite tenses, right? That means subject and verb, this verb second form. So that's the most easiest way. It will help you to make less grammatical errors, right? So if any information is in the present or future, then of course present, you are talking in the present indefinite and continuous as well. And if it's future, then certainly you are using the future indefinite mostly, right? And if something is like will be continuing, so continuous, future continuous. And support your data with accurate description. That means if any percentage says 29%, so you are writing 30. So don't write only 30. Always say it is round about 30. That's we say picking up the accurate description. Because if you're just writing 30, that means your data is not right, because that percentage is 29, and of course sometimes we're not sure with the line graphs. Yeah, so then you can use these words: around, roundabout, approximately, near to, near about, right? So these 5 words will help you to quote such information when you're not pretty sure about the exact figure. But majority of the time, if it's a bar graph, so then the figures become really clear. So especially this can be the case with the line graphs when you're not pretty sure about the data and you're just rounding it off. So always use that in words, because you are showing the written skills. So the examiner won't understand himself herself that you are saying that about to 30. No, he won't understand till the time you're not writing. So you're not writing will make him take it like this student doesn't know how to write if something is roundabout, right? So these are very small gestures or small things, but yeah, they are much accountable in increasing your marks, right? Moving on. Don't for the task 1, when we are writing the line graph, bar graph, or the pie chart, do not use the same words or percentage and number. So you have always have to use the same way they have written the data in. Like if they are giving the car name as Benz, so you're using Benz only, right? And percentages, then only percentages, and numbers, and then only numbers. And for percentages, you are using words like large, small, higher, lower, percentage of, right? So this is like when you are quoting up the data. So always you are, suppose you are writing percentages every time. So if you just provide a degree with that, larger percentage of, right? Smaller percentage of, the highest percentage of, the lowest percentage of. So it is like this must need to be added, right? So for numbers, use words like many, more, most, few, and fewer. So this is also something like these will add more clarification to the description of the data you are writing. So always write these words with the numbers you are mentioning. Don't give your opinion or speculation. So this is true. Never give your any opinion the the electronic gadgets sale decreased in 2020 because this was the reason, and that's your personal opinion, or maybe you heard in news, right? So any speculation or opinion is not to be added, must not to be added in the task 1 academic. This is not a place to write your ideas, write your opinion, thoughts, speculations. That is meant for the task 2. There you can explore the plethora of your thoughts, ideas, or anything you have in your mind regarding that essay, right? But this is to the dot, to the task, to the description given, or the diagram given. That's it. So it's not a discursive essay, that what I told you, right? And for example, like do not use your own personal knowledge. Like suppose you got a map of home central heating system, and somehow you are related to this engineering, right? And you know more than what the diagram is explaining, or what the diagram is imparting information of, right? And you are of course being a student of that particular engineering, you know that like how it works, right? Now never use your own information. That means do not add any extra piece of information which is not there in the diagram. You have to stick to the diagram. Yes, it will help you to explain it more better, of course, for sure, because you will be understanding that process very easily. Definitely, that's a plus point. But never add anything which is not written there and you are adding your own opinion because you know it, right? So keep intact to the diagram and just explain what you can see in the diagram, the process and the equipment used and the way it is installed. That's it, right? And do not use bullet points, notes, or abbreviations, right? Because again, this might be a fine in the university essay but not in the IELTS essay. That means, I mean, you are not using any bullet point, notes, and abbreviation. You have to follow the paragraph pattern. Don't write every number or process you see, so you have to actually club the information, right? So this is quite important. Besides that, there are no not only the bar graphs and the line graphs, we do have uh, this one as well, which we call maps, right? But before that, this is the one thing I want to explain to you guys. This is the common problems for describing charts. Not knowing which information to include in your answer. But I think by now you know that what information to be picked up from the diagram. Being unaware of what the examiner expects. So I told you the expectations of the examiner, what additions, what things they want to see. Include opinion and drawing conclusion. Must not to be done, right? Not using an appropriate structure. We do have a 4 paragraph structure. We will be following that, sticking to that. Not using appropriate grammar for describing data. I told you how you can use grammar like approximately, near to, roundabout, right? And for trends, we have increasing, decreasing words. We have different adjectives to show the degree of change. And we have many words to show the making, to make the comparisons, right? Not using a wide variety of appropriate vocabulary, but we do have right now. Failing to write an effective overview, which is quite important, because overview is like main trend, stages or processes. Copying word and phrases from the question, we not doing that. We know the different synonym of the word to be used. Failing to support description, trend and comparison with accurate data. We know how we can quote accurate data. We can look at straight. If we're not getting exactly, we can take help of the word and grammar to describe it. We are not writing one long paragraph because this is to be described in paragraph pattern, and I have to follow 4 paragraph pattern, right? So these are the things you need to keep in mind when you are doing the task 1. And this is the structure, right? So very simple, one paraphrase question. For sentence 1, you are doing the paraphrase, only one sentence is there. Then paragraph 2 overview, there you writing 3 sentences. First is main feature, second main feature, journal comparison if appropriate. Otherwise 2 are enough as well. Then 3 paragraphs supporting detail of feature 1, whatever you have written in the one. I told you, I showed you a structure. So same way you are following this one. 3 sentence here, 3 here, 2 or 3 here, or 1 here. So this is what you are just writing for the whole of the task 1 academic, right? So always create a clear overview, right? Do not try to type or write anything, everything, because you have to just take out the key points. Do not overcomplicate the answer by overgeneralizing the thing or description of the data, because that will mess up the whole thing for you. Idea need to be organized logically, like there should be a proper logic or a sequence in the events happening, right? So that it becomes easy to understand to the examiner. And always describe the data correctly, because incorrect data won't be taken as in a good note, by a good note from the examiner. So definitely we're not messing up with that. Now maps, just a sec. Oh, Ali, you there? So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We also good. So how your exam went?
Exam was very good, and I have a question regarding reading because this time I did academic test. So
Okay.
with the graph, actually, I had some issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to share and ask you because I was always assuming that a graph should be only one picture, but in my case, there were two graphs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the problem was that they gave me two set of questions. First, they said that you need to discuss like what the trends in the graphs are, and
Mm-hmm.
then you need to compare them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was struggling with the word count because it was only 150, and I couldn't, do well with the word count because I did first of all when I tried to write everything, I did 250 words.
Mm-hmm.
Then I need to delete, and I just finish at 180 because less than that I couldn't, completely express what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. So for, yeah, this is not something new in the IELTS when you get 2 pictures for the task 1, right? And if that's the case, always you will see the first diagram will be having more information, and second one sort of a comparison, and it will derive from the first diagram only. So this
Yes.
is what the common scenario. If you get such a diagram, then what you have to do, 180 words for those like definitely they are more, right? According to format, they can be, 160, 170 for two diagrams. But you see, if they are giving 150, there is a reason behind that. So why they are giving 150, and we actually have to write 150, 155 words, right? In that case, what you can do, you just simply have four paragraphs. So one, you are writing intro. Second, you're writing overview. In third, explain the diagram number one, right? Do not extend it, just take out, sorry, the main feature. Then fourth, go to diagram 4 and just see what are the main feature there and just write them out. Actually, this is what you have to do with the task 1. So even if you're relating that and you feel like in the fourth paragraph I have to make relation, so maybe it's like 3 sentences I tell you, so maybe you extend it to 5 sentences, still it won't be somewhere around 60, 160, 165, not more than that, because we just have to concentrate on the key informations. So have you, like, do you want, or you won't be able to take any picture? What sort of diagram it was? Can you explain a bit?
So the question was that it was a survey, and the survey was saying about the number of students who were attending full time and part time studies at University of Sydney. But
Mm-hmm.
both the graphs were divided. Like the first graph was only about the male students, so there
Mm-hmm.
was, there was an age group on the x-axis and percentage on the y-axis.
Mm-hmm.
So there were two, like for the first age group, there were two bars, part time, full time. Then second age group, part time, full time. And same as the second graph was same for the female students. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like, it was very hard for me, to uh, combine both and write very compact form of report. So because
So
if
you
I'm
got
just,
all, you got four, in total you got two pictures, and in two pictures you got two different bar graphs, one
yeah, two
dedicated to
different.
male numbers, one dedicated to female numbers of students.
Yeah, so the first picture was saying male students, then it was
Mm-hmm.
divided into full time and part time. Same as the second one, female students, full time and part time.
So
So
it's
there
not
were,
difficult at all. Then simply you can, third paragraph need to be about males only. Fourth paragraph need to be about females only. And in the overview, when you are writing that overview part, there you can just simply compare. Like if there are any significant comparison between the part-time and full-time students in the, as per their genders. So that sentence need to be there in the overview. So there is, you must not be confused about it, because
yeah,
overview actually meant for just analyze the diagram and see any significant likes and opposites, right? And just write them there only. And third and fourth, just clearly description with the years and with the percentages mentioned,
okay.
because that way it will be the easiest, that's the easiest way to write it. Otherwise definitely I can bet on you, you will be confused and you will be just exceeding the words, because
Yeah.
obviously when you try to compare at the end, right, so
Hmm.
it will exceed your words somehow. And if no comparison is made before, then you have to do that, because that's how you are explaining it perfectly or according to what is needed in the task. I guess that happened with you.
This happened with me because in starting, I wrote one sentence about the male students attending full time, then one sentence male students attending part time, then two sentences for female, and then I went to comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how
Okay, in
it
total how
was.
many paragraph you have made?
In starting I tried to write four, but
Mm-hmm.
then because of everything, I decided to remove the intro paragraph, the first one. So I started from the male students graph and then the female students, and so I write only three paragraphs this time
Okay, now
because
this
I
is
had
again a
to.
problem.
Yeah, I
You
got
cannot
it.
remove the, you cannot remove the introduction. That's a format.
But
Okay, okay, but yeah, okay, fine. Let's see how it's come out. And the thing is, introduction and overview are the two things you cannot remove or add something like that. They have to be there. They must be there. And overview paragraph, when you make that paragraph, whatever, if there are two diagrams, just like in your case, you need a comparison, right? Don't compare just like for part-time student and full-time. Just see out of the male student, where is the major share, with the part-time or the full-time. That will be act as one conclusive sort of paragraph, right? Go to female graphs, see where it is falling more or less, whatever trend you want to pick up, write that one. Now just look at both the graphs and see where the number is greater for the suppose full time from male and female comparison, and that becomes your third paragraph or third sentence. So these three sentences need to be there in the overview as per what my understanding of the diagram you got, right? And after
Mm.
that, it is very clear that you're just writing male and female paragraph for third and fourth and describing with the numbers. And this is the one of the best way you can describe that one. And I don't think that you need more words, because we don't have to explain everything in the graphs given, because that's where definitely we are overgeneralizing. That's where that the way we are just writing more words than they have said. Like 250 is too much, you see. But
Yeah.
180 is still considerable, but again, like it need to be somewhere around 160, 165. Now see
Same
how
thing.
the results
Same
come
thing
out.
happened in the essay. In essay, when I firstly started the essay, I wrote the whole essay. It was 350 words. Then I came down to 290, and I couldn't go down 290, so I finished it up on 290.
So have you followed the structure, or just go with the you just going with the flow?
I completely followed the structure, but I don't know. Uh, every time when I write essay, I always exceed the limit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is my habit. But
So
because
it
I
it
think that
it means that what you do the exaggeration of the description. So you have, maybe you write one idea and you write a lot of description to that, so that we count as overgeneralizing.
yes, because I in body paragraph one, I wrote only one idea,
Hmm.
the topic sentence, and then I described that topic sentence in one sentence, and
Mm-hmm.
the third sentence was an example, and the fourth sentence was explanation of an example. So four sentences in both the body
No,
paragraphs.
no, no, no. When you have written an example, then why there was an explanation of example?
Like, for example, I just wrote that if we replace computers with the human beings in our workplace,
Mm-hmm.
then like for example we get some medical problems, some adverse medical problems, and
Mm-hmm.
then at the end of the paragraph I just wrote, hence we should not do this, just to cover it all up.
Mm-hmm. So
So
resulting sort of. You say
yeah,
resulting.
so both the paragraphs I just wrote one line each at the end, but still
Mm-hmm.
if I just remove those two lines, I was about to go to 270 maximum. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't go down to 270.
So when we do the task two, I show you the example of the body paragraph, how it need to look like. You see how precise is that?
Yes.
Yeah, and you compare to what you have written, and I believe it's going to be the double the length of that example,
Yes,
right?
only
So
body paragraphs were bigger.
yes, that's what I keep on telling everyone, because you follow the structure, keep it really to the dot, to the information, because definitely, I mean, this is not the habit of you only. There are many out there. Normally, we try to explain the things to the fullest, and what happened in that case, we generally exceed the word limit. And we don't even realize that when we just finish it off, then only we know, okay, this is 300 already. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we have to just again, and that actually consume lot of important time.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was the essay basically?
The essay was about in our daily life, for example, at work and at our home,
Mm-hmm.
we are using machines
Mm-hmm.
such as robots.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think? Is it positive or negative development?
Okay, so it's a technology related essay.
Yeah.
So
So,
what do you say? It's a positive or negative development?
in my intro, I said it's a negative development,
Uh-huh.
and I wrote a line like what I'm thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wrote the whole essay on the negative development.
Okay, so you said you are of opinion of positive,
Negative,
but negative. So you wrote the whole essay in the negative sense.
negative sense. Yeah,
Negative sense. All right.
that
This
we
is right.
shouldn't
This
use
is the
them.
pattern is right, because you have to pick one side. They said positive or negative.
Or negative, yeah.
So it's a sort of opinion essay.
Yes,
All right.
but they didn't say like write your opinion or do you agree or disagree. They say
Basically, they are asking, is it a positive or negative development? It's another way of asking opinion.
yeah. So I just chose one.
Okay, that's good. That's right. So it's a computer-based test for you, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so you are expecting the result in another 5 days.
Yeah.
And what was the reading and listening thing?
Um, Reading was literally hard because it was academic.
Yes, it is.
So
So what are the
some
topics? Do you remember anything?
mm, one was about the silver fox.
Okay.
One was about the history of boats, like how people design used to design boats, and
Boats,
they
billboards, sort of.
yeah, they don't remember, they don't name the boats.
Uh-huh.
Wherever they go, they just say it's a watercraft, like that.
Okay.
So those were the two passages, and I forgot the last one.
So the difficulty level was like keep on increasing.
It I think all the three were same, but they were really difficult.
Really difficult. Normally, that's the case with academics sometimes. So listening was okay, I believe.
Listening was very good, because
That's,
what I
yeah.
realized that listening, what I always struggle in listening with a multiple choice question. So in all the 40 questions, there was none of the multiple choice.
So you're very lucky
So
for
it was
listening.
very
But I tell you
easy.
that there is a secret.
Mhm.
When the listening is easy,
Then
right?
reading is
The
difficult.
reading is going to be really difficult. That's how they just design the exams, right? This is very general trend for IELTS or IELTS, British Council or IDP exams. So when
Mhm.
listening is easy, you feeling like, okay, this is quite easy, very easy. So now expect a difficult reading for sure. And when listening is like a mixture of type of question, which some are easy, some are difficult, then reading is again going to be two passages. They are medium average one, and the last one will be difficult. All right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
throughout the
Uh-huh.
reading 40 questions, there was no question, like there were true false not given as well, but
Mm-hmm.
there was no question which was saying like you
Paragraph
should
heading.
attempt. No, there was no paragraph heading. There was like a statement, and which paragraph does it relate to?
That's the difficult. It doesn't contain any of that.
No, it was easy for me. I did it very well, and I'm confident about that. And there was one question regarding the scientist, like which scientist told this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly questions had only one word answer. Like there was no instruction like you can write 2 or 3 words, only one word. I
One
think
word.
because of computer based, I think they are doing it because it's easier to check.
Easier to check and easier to, yeah, maybe that could be the case, right? So the instruction can like change definitely, but yes,
Yeah.
it's good if it's one word and you're pretty sure and you have typed it, everything listening and reading in capitals.
Capital, I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because listening, normally the major mistakes when you don't type in capitals, that becomes the
Mhm.
major mistake. For reading, if you're not following capital, that's what I told you. Then follow what how the word is written in the reading itself. Pick the same pattern or simply write capitals.
And in the listening, there was one question regarding a diagram to label.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an oil-less motor. How it works? So there were different parts which were labeled, and we need to write the name of the parts.
Okay, oil-less motor. I'll just find this one and I'll add this
It
into
was
the
it
practicing.
was very easy. Like I'm sure I did those ones very well.
So listening is going to be great, and I guess same goes to the speaking. Let's see what you get for the writing and reading now.
Yeah.
So you applied for academic, but you kept on practicing for the general, no?
Because the problem is that I'm applying for student visa now, so I need to get
Oh,
academic first and then GT.
then GT.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now you again going. Why don't you go after for PT? Have you ever done PT?
No, never.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I believe PT will be much easier for you because obviously it is acceptable. And I think, as I have seen you here in the class, IELTS is difficult than PTE. And if you're doing actually good here, so I believe PTE will be more easy for you as compared to this one in sense of receiving marks, whatever your required score is.
Yeah, but because of my GT, I want to see like how where am I standing. So that's why I do academic IELTS, so that I know what can I improve in my GT exam.
Okay, definitely. So from here, you will be knowing that you need to improve your writing for sure.
Because my problem was that first IELTS I did, it was in 2013.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine that. Yes.
I got six in writing, and then
Uh-huh.
second IELTS I did was in 2018, and I got six in writing. So I didn't improve in writing at all.
at all.
So that's why
So
I
now
just did
today
I.
as well, you just missed one whole paragraph introduction from the task one.
Yeah,
And I'm not happy about it because you see you can't mess with the structure, the
yeah,
intro,
yeah.
the body paragraphs, and whatever the pattern has told you, they must need to be there.
Okay,
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm waiting for your results
no
anyhow.
worries. I'll tell you.
So, yes, definitely. All right, guys. So you listen to the one student who just appeared for the exam. I hope this has cleared work for you, like how it gonna be in the academic exam. Sometimes it's really tough, sometimes it's average one. And as you listen few of the topic like oilless motor, you can also search on yourself. Silver fox is the topic, then history of boards, right? So then positive negative development for the robots usage in the modern homes, this is the essay. So as I told you, something is going to be related to one of the 10 main topics, and here it is technology, right? So if you're just preparing in a same line as I just told you, so definitely you will be somewhere at a place where you're not lacking the ideas and examples for sure, and you knowing the topic somehow, right? So let's move to the maps now. So maps generally they describe different kind of the changes happening. They can be specific and general, and the locations can be changed in that. So these are the major changes that happen in any of the map, right? And the structure keeps on like, after intro we talking about the specific changes, we talking about the general changes, we're talking about any change in the location. So this is actually the main information we only pick up from the maps. Moving to the first category of the map, like this is how it will be. So word we need to describe different changes are written here. They all are related to the buildings, right? Because the buildings, because the maps, they're gonna be something about the buildings, right? The, maybe there is a construction, demolishing, replacing, building them, sorry, developing them, relocating them, modernizing them, converted them, renovating them. So it somehow about some construction thing, and construction, what sort of construction it is, this is here construction or demolition. So this is here the all words you will be using, because different changes require different word to explain that change, right? So you can take a note of all these words, and you might have a map, then you might need out of these 3 to 5 words to explain those changes. For the overview, these are the five, not five, these are the 7 example of the sentences to write an overview for a map, right? As you see, they are describing the changes in the town and cities, right? So here, over the period, the area witnessed dramatic change or changes, right? From this to that year, the city center saw spectacular developments. So all these sentences will help you to decide what kind of overview sentences you can take out from a map if it's going to be case in your IELTS exam writing, right? So these are the few of the examples. And if you feel like any diagram is similar to these example, you can even use the same pattern. Just change the years according to the picture. Maybe change the 10-year period to 20 or 30, depending on years mentioned, right? And name of the area. It can be the park which was transformed. It can be the residential area which was totally transformed, right? So according to the diagram, you can just fix few things here and there, and these sentences you can just to keep in mind that this is how I can write the overview, right? And after that you will be writing the main body paragraph, that will be 2, right? And first, before this, you are writing the introduction. So in total again we are, yes, 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 okay, so again we are writing 4 paragraphs in total, right? So here is the next one, how to describe location. So when we know how many words we need to change, describe different changes, then comes the what sort of overview sentences we can pick up. And after that, there comes the description where we need to describe what changes happen in the location wise, right? If it, this place is for previously in the southwest, now it is moved to the southeast and near to the river, right? So this is like how we are describing the changes with different locations. So first of all, for the location change, you can either use the directions. north, south, east, and west. And also we can use the combination of the direction like southwest, northeast, northwest, right? And southeast, right? So this is how we can use the different combination of the direction as well, and they give us more accuracy in describing the locations. And besides that, we can use right to the right of that, to the left of that, right? For example, here the forest to the south of the river was cut down. So to the south of the river. So river south side, there was a forest which was cut down. So this explained the exactly location of the event happened in the picture. Same goes to a golf course was constructed to the north of the airport. So golf course was constructed where? To the north of the airport. So airport north, there was a golf course constructed. So this clearly picturizes where this event is happening in the diagram. So same way, all of the above below sentences followed. The next is the use of preposition. So here when it is maps, or when it is especially maps, we're talking about places. And when we write places, we need preposition of place, right? And preposition of place, like what are those? And they are written here: at, in, on, by, beside, to, of, from, right? So these are the examples for the preposition of place, and mostly these are the one you will be using in your descriptions. So examples are: dramatic changes took place, and where they took place? City center. So I cannot write dramatic changes took place the city center. I have to tell the preposition of place here. That will grammatically make my sentence correct. Missing on those, my sentences will be wrong. So I have to write dramatic changes took place in the city center, right? Golf course surrounded by trees. New school was built next to the swimming pool. The old road running from north to south was replaced by a new motorway. Marina was built on the banks of river. So you see, without these preposition of place, your sentence cannot be act as a completed one, and definitely that won't get you good marks. So after overview, this is the way we are describing the events. So one example of that is here. So this is very common graph. If you have practiced with the Cambridge books, you will be seeing this in the Cambridge book number 5 or 6 maybe. So this is a map of an island before and after construction, right? So this is one description of that in 160 words, which is how you are explaining the maps you getting. So this one is the sentence. Sorry, we are paraphrasing the two map below thing. So we are saying both maps displayed an island before and after it was developed for tourism, right? Then this island is approximately 250-meter long, right? Why approximately? It says 100 meter this side, so 200, and this one we taken as 250, right? And has palm trees dotted around it. And you see these are the palm trees dotted around it, and surrounded by ocean, right? And has a beach to the west. So there is a beach to the west. Over the period, what changes happen? So the island was completely transformed, first of all, from a complete sort of barren land. It is now a modernized island, right? And then with the hotel, addition was a hotel and a pier, right? There is a pier. And then, however, the eastern part, this is the west we talking about here, and this has become the east. So eastern part, it appears to be have unleft or left undeveloped, right? So this has become overview for the for this diagram, that how we are covering the first diagram within one sentence and how we are covering the next diagram in within one sentence. So the major changes we have said here already. Now in the two paragraphs, whatever changes we mention here, we will be explaining that with the description in the next two paragraph, right? So just like that, imagine you got two diagrams, and obviously with the maps, always you will be having two different maps. Not every time, sometimes just one map explaining about the two places, right? So it is like that's how you are picking up the overview for that. And then the description one, the most noticeable addition are the hotel rooms. So here are the hotel rooms, which are the noticeable addition, right? 6 buildings surrounding the trees. So these are the 6 buildings surrounding the palm trees, right? And have been built in the west of the islands, and 9 buildings in the middle of the island, center of the island, right? Now between these two accommodations area, a reception building. So this is a reception building and a restaurant have been developed, restaurant and reception. So this is explained, right? Then coming to the pier, a pier has also been built on the south coast, west, east, south coast of the island, allowing yachts. So we have yachts here, right? Allowing yachts access to the resort. Apart from trees, like these are the trees which were there previously as well and now as well. Apart from trees, the beach remained the only natural feature to remain relatively untouched, right? Previously beach was there, trees were there, and now trees and beach are also there, and this is the only feature which remain untouched. But however, it appears it does appear that it is now used for swimming, but it is appear that it is now used for swimming. You see at it is written swimming now, and there was no swimming. And you see how this data is only talking about what you can see in the diagram. There is no speculation, opinion, or our own personal thought in the description. This is how your task need to be. Adding something like that will make you lose mark, and this is how beautifully you have to describe everything in a logical manner, right? So you see the just like we discussed about the signposting, the most noticeable addition, right? So this is like signposting language. So wherever you get a chance over the period, so this is talking about the time, and again a signposting language sort of thing. So this is like how you are adding, keep adding these things as well, but not overdoing that, but fulfilling all the requirement to be there in the task description. And after this one, the one last diagram you can have in your exam is process diagram. So there are two types of the process diagram generally, the natural and the man-made. So the man-made are the one where they're talking about the products or the manufacturing done by the human, right? And the natural one will be accounted as where the things are happening at a natural pace, naturally, and there is no intervention of the man in those processes, like life cycle of a silkworm, like a seed, how a tree become fully grown, right? And how flower is developed, or for flower is produced from a seed. So all these processes are natural. So either it could be a natural process, either it could be a man-made process. Man-made process is like cement production, or it can be the coffee production, right? And any sort of paper making process, right? So all these things are natural, are not natural, they are man-made, right? Now the seventh step we need to follow to complete this one, this is a very quick one. You have to understand the process first of all, where it is starting and where it is ending. That's very important because that will only give you the logical order. Picking any point from anywhere will not give you any logical order on the process. Count how many stages there are and understand what each stage does and the relationship it has with the stage before and after it, right? So what we have to do, like first starting from here ending there, in total there are 6 stages, and at every stage what is happening and what is the result of that stage. Just take out these questions and answer to these questions, right? Then first paragraph you are paraphrasing the statement, the second paragraph overview, and how you are writing an overview for a process diagram, that you are giving overview in 2 sentences, right? And what you're writing in those 2 sentences, like what is happening in the process, like it is a process where a seed is developing into a full grown tree. There are 5 stages in that, and every stage is describing the process of development or the production of the tree to its full adult version, right? Now divide the process. Now obviously we've got 6 stages. Divide three stages and write those three stages in next third and fourth paragraph. So this is how you are completing the 4 paragraph structure here. So this is the one thing, and these are the questions to make it easy to understand any of the process diagram. So first of all, the one thing is challenging here. Sometimes we get a process which we totally unaware of. We do not know actually how this is. Now suppose like how the coffee is made from the beans, right? From the the coffee garden itself, how it is made and packed in the boxes. For me, it's a completely a totally process which I'm not aware of, right? And I got this in a picture. So examiners do understand that, like sometimes there are processes which you have never seen, right? So they are not after any perfect answer as per the understanding of the process, because this is not your GK exam. They are only after how well you are taking out the main feature described in the picture, and you are are you reporting them accurately or not, right? That's it. That's what they will be looking for in your description. So just go through these questions and you will be getting all answers to be written in your description. So process start and end, stages, man-made and natural, it will give you one sentence, right? It's a cycler or linear one. Like cycler, it's like it's in a circle, or linear is like just in a flowchart way they mention something. Are there any material that need to be added to the process? That means maybe at the stage 3, they are saying they are just what I say, they are finding the product, right? Finding the product, refining or finding. So maybe I just like with the help of the refiner they are refining the product. So that refiner word maybe the material I need to add it there, right? What is produced? So every stage, what we get refined powder here, right? What does each stage do of the process do? So maybe then the next is it's a decompressor. So there what is happening, what the process taking place? So definitely from the word decompressor I got to know here that that powder is decompressed, right? So that additional information I have to understand from the word mentioned in the stage. What are the relationship between each stage? So after refining, the refined powder is sent to or moved towards the decompressor section, where the decompress with the help of that machine the powder is decompressed, right? So this is like how you are explaining the relationship from one stage to other, and this will give length and also the more clear description to the your work as well. So that's all about the task 1 academic, right? This is about the general task letter. So you are getting line graphs, you may getting bar graphs, you may getting pie charts, tables, maps, and process diagrams, right? So these are the general the diagrams you can get in your exam here. Besides that, nothing, any new sort of diagrams are not to be seen in the task 1 academic of ours. So these are general one, and for all these sort of diagram I explained what you expect and how you can explain them in the task 1 academic, right? And there is a live example we heard. So those are the mistake. If you're missing on introduction, definitely you will be losing mark. If you're missing on the overview, definitely you will be losing mark. And overview is the place. If you feel like there are two diagrams, just make a comparison in the overview with one sentence there and then only, and finish it off. Now, don't worry that I have to explain it later as well when I'm describing the thing. No, you just have to describe the data now. That's it. How many number of people are doing part-time in the male category and how many doing in the female category, and how many for the full-time and how many for the full-time for the females. That's it. That the information rest with you, remained with you, that you are adding into your description. And think like how you can just um, picking up the main information, how you can write in 150 words, because that's the target we have to achieve, 150 word. We cannot write lesson words, we cannot write more words. Both way we will be losing marks, right? Okay, so this is about the listening, sorry, this is about the writing task 1 academic. And just a second, I'll share a diagram, share a image here with you. Bear with me just a sec. Just a second, it's almost there. Sometime I'm just sharing a picture here with you right now. So your question can look like this as well. So this is like having three diagrams, but of course there is a comparison of those diagrams, right? And if that question appear in your exam, so how you are explaining that in exactly the word we are talking here, 150. So I'm giving you an example of that. Just a second. Almost there. Just a second. In contrast. Okay, here it is. I need to stop it and share again. So this is one of the example of the question, like how it can be. I'll just show you the answer to that as well. Okay, so now this diagram you see here, it says the main road in 1950, something like that. Just let me improve the font size. Okay, fine. So we have 20 minutes and we have to write 150. Now this is exactly in 151 words. The answer is written. So diagram show below show the changes that have taken place at West Park Secondary School since its construction in 1950. So we got three different pictures here, and there are changes in these three pictures. Right now, this is one of the tasks where we have to compare these three sort of diagram because they all are different, having different features in that. So if we got such a diagram, so how are we going to explain that? So first, obviously, there is an introduction we need to write. The picture illustrate the changes, right, which have taken place at West Park Secondary School from 1950 to 2010. So you see, first of all, introduction has been changed a bit with the words with what we can change. The picture becomes the diagram, shows become the illustrate, changes. You can also write the alterations which have taken place. They say that have taken place. So no, name, noun we cannot change. And from a time from, we said 1950 to 2010 because as it is shown in the picture here. Then becomes the overall become, you see the overall farmland, this is the farmland and the houses. So you see the major change is there in these two areas because the playground and the school main building, it is there in all the three diagrams. So what we have to see the major trend. The farmland and houses disappeared from the map. Obviously, yes. Playground was abridged, right? So this is like there is some other in construction was done along with that. They were built science block, right? So there is a science block which is built and a car park which is built and a sports field. So these are the new additions to the building. So you see, this is how your overview needs to be, because if in the overview you able to explain the major changes you are looking at the diagram in, and whatever else you can add in there. Obviously here in this case we are talking about the new construction, so if you're able to add that as well, then now what your task left with, it's just that you have to explain that changes in the 2 paragraphs, right? So this is very important thing to understand, that overview, why it is more important, because it helps you to actually write in 150 160 words. It will help you because it will cover the main major comparisons, any new additions, any something likewise things here only, and then after that we don't have to worry about that because we already mentioned that here, right? So here you see how beautifully it covered that farmland and houses disappeared, playground was abridged, and there was built a science block, car park, and sports field. So these are actually the changes we are looking at from 1950 to 2010. After that, you see, firstly, significant alterations occurred to the farmland, right? So this is farmland. So significant alteration occurred to this area. It was redesigned to a sports field, right, in 1980, right? And then to a car park in 2010. So mainly the significant alteration happened with the farmland, because firstly it changed to the sports field, then it changed to the car park. There was an expansion of the car park in 2010, right? So there was an expansion of the car park in 2010, right? And the sport field was placed between the car park and the playground. So now you see a sports field, the car park is expanded here as well. And this area placed between playground and sports field or car park, right? Moreover, substantial changes. Here I have written significant alterations. Here it is given substantial changes happened to the houses. Obviously, this is the one other major change which we said here. They were removed from the map, car park and science block taking their place. So they were completely removed from the map. So what it car park and science block have taken place of the houses. Furthermore, a science block was added, right, to the school building in 1980. So science block was added to the school building in the 1980, and playground was reduced in size. So playground it also reduced in size. However, the location of the playground and the school, the both location of these two places were not modified. So they were not majorly changed. In contrast, the main road remained unchanged throughout the period. So you see the main road, it was there in all the 3 years. So this is how we are covering the whole diagram beautifully in 151. This is 151 words, right? It is not difficult at all. It's just that the perspective we are looking at the diagram given, right? Now in this case, if you try to explain all the 3 years differently with different paragraphs, so you see you will be just writing too many things in every paragraph, right? And obviously there won't be a good overview you can make from that. And then of course you will be writing 3 paragraphs or every description, or maybe you're just dividing into two. So ultimately that will not give a good structure to your writing. So this is very important, that keep your uh, writing to 4 paragraphs, intro, overview, description, 2 paragraphs, right? And just club the information, which is very important. Club the information. First look at diagram, study the diagram, major changes, what alterations are there in this case, and then cover that up first in the overview, and then go after the detailed description, right? And there is one more example I have taken, and that's from the map. Just a second. It's not for map, sorry, it's a bar chart. Like we talking about, there was a bar chart in the exam. So suppose we got a bar chart, so how we are writing that? So it is here. Just a second. These what we are doing here, they are also the past exam questions. And sometime you see the image I'm showing you now, it got lot of data in it, and how we can then cover the data if it is more, and we feeling like we can't write it in 150 150 60 word, right? So just a second. Just a second, I'm adjusting the diagram so that you guys can see it. Okay, now this is the next one. It is a bar graph, and you see it got the museum visitors in number from 2007 till 2012, and this is having three different museum. There is there is a National Gallery in orange color, Victoria and Albert Museum in red color, and British Museum in green color. And this is giving the axis is giving us the years, and the other axis is giving us the annual visitors in million, 5, 0, 5, 10, and that's how our bars representing the data. So you see, the first of all, introduction to be changed. The bar chart compares, and it says the bar chart shows the number of visitors to three London museums between 2007 and 12. And we are writing the bar chart compares the yearly number of visitors in three different museums from 2007 to 12 in London. We can add that now, doesn't matter, right? So this is how you can completely alter the introduction, and definitely it is not affecting your score in this case, but keeping it same will definitely do affect. Then overall, the peak of visitors number was in 2012. The peak of visitors number was in 2012. You see, for all of the museum, 2012 stands out the maximum, while the lowest point was in 9 and 10. So go to 9 and 10, and you will see the lowest point for every sort of the museum visits on an average is in both those years. So this become overall for this sort of diagram, and even we can add one more sentence here. If we feel like I can take some more information as a overall, definitely you can write it up here as well. Now going to the description, first of all, Victoria and Albert Museum was the most popular from 2007 to 2009. Why we are writing the most popular? Because it kept on increasing in its popularity, and beside these 2 years, every time the bar is at a greater length, right? During 7 and 8, its annual number of visitors remained constant. 7 and 8, you see they were constant, almost same. About 14, now they have used word about because they're not sure about the exact data. 14 million per year, right? However, figures started to decline rapidly. This is how we are just showing the changes, declining, increasing, and what is the degree it is the change is happening. So rapidly, decline rapidly in 9. Right? So here they have said that it declined in 2009, right? And after that, no, it is not decline in 9, I guess. Constant was in 14. Albert and Victor and Albert Museum is red. Yeah, it declined. Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was just saying this is looking at it as a yellow. I'm very sorry. So yeah, they are peaked here, and then it declined from this position and reached to this position. So reached its lowest point to 8 million in 10, right? And we just covering up this sentence as well, that the least position of the Victorian Albert Museum is in 2010 only, which is about 8 million, right? And we have just close it up here. And after that, and we not adding this sentence here because it is not needed. We deleting it, right? And we are writing after that, the number of Victorian Albert Museum visitors gradually rose up to 10 million visitors within 2 years. So this covered the entire Victorian Albert Museum part, right? British Museum was the second popular in 7, being outraced by Victorian Albert Museum, right? So you want to add this line, you can, but if you feel like this will increase your length, you can remove this as well. Just keep it. Was the second most popular, right? And nevertheless, its number of visitor experienced a sharp fall in. So we are just doing the same thing with it because I just want to reduce the words here. Its number of visitor experienced a sharp fall in 8 and remained unchanged the following year. So in the 8, the number of visitor, there was a sharp fall from 7, right? And then it remained unchanged the following year. From 8, of course, 9, it remained unchanged. Then it reached its peak of approximately 14 million visitors in 12, regaining its position of 2007. So very well explained the whole position. So unnecessary things, we just remove them. So now you see it is 1, 2, 3, and this is the fourth one, right? So we are just mixing this up. National Gallery Museum being the least popular. Now this is National Gallery in the 7. It was the least popular in the beginning, right? It experienced a growth of more than 10 million visitors over 6-year period. So from 7 we just covered it to the entire up row. 6-year period we said that, and its growth was more than 10 million visitors. So you see here it is around about 6 or something, but now after this one it is like more than 10 million. So obviously it is more than 10 million in 10, 11, right? So this is how we can just write it and cover the whole thing in one sentence. And then where it is, and became the most visited museum in 12. So now in 12, it became the most visited from the least visited, right? And this is how whatever like large information, large data is given, we can just club that information and we can explain in the given word limit only. So you see it beautifully covered up all the 3 type of museum and just explaining what is British, what is the happening with the British Museum, what is happening with the National Gallery, right? What is happening with the Albert and Victoria Museum. So it explained every position very clearly here in the 2 descriptive paragraph, and overall told that the peak visitor was in the 2012, the least was in 9 and 10. That is the journal trend we are just taking out from this one. So this is how you can explain different sort of diagrams, right? So the previous one was a diagram. We call it a map. Now this is a bar graph, right? So these are the 2 examples. You can take a screenshot as well. And whenever you get a bar graph, you can just learn how the things are covered in one sentence. The major data is covered in clubbed in one sentence, and you can follow the same pattern. Okay, so all clear? So I am
Yes,
stopping
clear,
this
Aman.
session here.
Uh,
Yes,
how can we check our own writing? Na?
you can't check your own writings. You have to send 1 or 2 writings to me. One writing for essay, one for the bar graph, right? That I will mark for you and tell you mistakes. But yes, I can just check only once,
Okay.
right? And then I can tell you. So just give your best shot and send it to the email address. And I'll be just getting giving you back, checking it. And you can understand like what things you need to add in your descriptions.
Okay, thank you. Will you give me your email address?
Yeah, that's PTE. I'll write it for you. Just a second. pte@ceca.com.au.
Okay, thank you.
You can send one essay, one letter here. I'll be checking it and giving you feedback, but yeah, only one I can do that for you, right? Any
Fine.
doubts with this one? All clear?
Clear, it's clear.
It's clear. All right. So I'm stopping this session right now, and we are ending this, and we will definitely be seeing each other tomorrow with the new topic for the IELTS exam, right? And definitely looking forward to the results of the student who appeared, and that can give us idea what how he performed and what we can learn from him. Definitely, right? So I'm ending this session, right? So, okay, see you tomorrow at 2. So I'm ending it right now. Bye-bye, guys. Take care. Yeah, bye-bye.